What's going on, guys? Guardian Light here, coming at you with the draft analysis video for Pokemon Masters League. So recently I got invited to come take part in this draft league, and I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty cool. I've been doing a lot of doubles recently, which you can see on the rest of my channel, and I was like, you know, let's do singles again. It's been a long time since I played any singles. See if I've still got it. The answer's probably no, but we're gonna try anyway. So the way they structure the draft is it was snake draft. You get one tier 1 Pokemon, two tier 2 Pokemon, one tier 3, one tier 4, and one tier 5. You get 3 free picks that can be anywhere from tier 3 to 5, and you get a wild card, which can be anything. And only your tiers 3 through 5 Mons can Dynamax. Seems simple enough. So I didn't go into this with a plan. I was like, I'm gonna draft a couple support mons. I'm gonna pick up a sweeper, and we're gonna see. So my type matchups aren't wonderful, as you can see. This wonderful little dock, brought to you by Ballhawk, it allows you to put in the mons you're using, and it gives you your defensive type matchups. It gives you some of the things that your Pokemon can figure out. And other than that, it's a cool thing. And it can also sort stats. So this kind of helps do some of the work for me. And by that means it puts it in nice, pretty colors so that I can know what I'm looking at. So let's start right off with my tier 1, Gyarados. Gyarados is one of those mons I've had a thing for quite a while. Very strong mon. In doubles, it's great with Intimidate, and it gets a really good moveset. In singles, I can use the Intimidate, or I can set up Moxie Sweep with the right support. I've seen evidence that a 6-0 sweep with Gyarados is possible. It's just very difficult, which is why I appreciate that it gets a lot of wonderful moves, such as Ice Fang for the Dragon types. It gets EQ, Aqua Tail, Power Whip. It gets a lot of things that would that you could consider pretty useful, especially in singles, where spread doesn't matter. Next up is my tier 2, or one of my tier 2s. I've got Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl, in my opinion, is still one of the better suicide leads in the game. With access to Taunt, Stealth Rock, and Stone Edge, it very powerful out of the gate. Give it if I wanted to go a little slower, if I'm expecting like Trick Room or something, cool. I can just do that and run Bulkier or Life Orb to get more damage off. If I'm trying to set it up, if I'm trying to set up Tailwind and they have something that can rival it speed wise, or I'm worried about them setting up on me because rocks do kind of hurt, I can always taunt and set up my own. Next up is actually for the opposite problem, Hatred. Hatred is a mon I've never gotten to use. However, Magic Bounce is really fun. I don't have a Sticky Web user on my team, and that might be something I look at later on the line for trading. However, in the meantime, if I think they're going to send it out against me, I can just switch in the Hatchering, and Magic Bounce immediately takes effect, setting themselves up. And on top of that, Psychic Fairy, always a fun typing. It's wonderful in Trick Room. It's actually one of my Trick Room setters if I need it. And I do have some slower mons that make Trick Room a mode worth running. And also, a good amount of... Let's see, how much special attack do you have? 136 base special attack? Nothing to sneeze at. I know there's some mons that are just as slow with a little better, such as Vikavolt, but make do with what we got, and I like the typing. Next up are my tier 3s. Or my tier 3. I got one. Swoobat. Swoobat is a bit of a bulkier mon, and you may wonder why I'm not going Crobat, considering my team name is Crystal Crobats. And it's honestly, Crobat was a lot higher tier for what it was, and I already have Aerodactyl to do a better job. Swoobat being a bulky special attacker is really good, especially considering it's a considering it can Dynamax, it's a prime target for weakness policy, and the fact that it sets up max airstream to set itself up is always nice too. Similar situation for Poliwrath by tier 4. Another decent Dynamax option. Max Knuckle is always nice. Gets Max Geyser to set up the rain. Which can set up with, like, you see Toxtricity down the way. That's always nice. To set up for Thunder. And on top of that, it doubles its own speed in the rain. If I didn't want to do that, it's always a good switch in for water type attacks. Which I am weak to, so it does help. By tier 5, Hippopotas. Some singles players might be looking at me going like, what is your problem? Why are you running Hippopotas? Hippowdon was on that list. Well, Hippopotas was tier 5. And a budget sand setter is always nice. Considering the fact Eviolite Hippopotas becomes very bulky, and it's a good support mon. Things like Yawn force a switch. Otherwise, my opponent loses momentum. And there's a couple of the small things, like it can do damage with Earthquake. It can set up its own Stealth Rocks. It gets Weather Ball, which is always nice considering it sets up its own weather. All in all, pretty solid mon. And to partner with it was my first free pick, Stoutland. Stoutland is another Intimidate user, which makes me a little wary of Adrenaline Lord, but that's fine. It also has the ability Sand Rush. If I'm not going Trick Room and I'm putting everything, I'm going all gas, no brakes, Stoutland is an absolutely wonderful option, especially if I set up with Hippopotas earlier. The rest normally, the Yawn can force a switch, which allows Stoutland to get a free switch into the Sandstorm. Always a nice choice. And the fact that it's a normal type means that its coverage tends to be pretty good. On top of having stab moves like Facade, Body Slam, bleed all of the Elemental Fangs, and a couple of other wonderful options. It definitely earns a spot on this team. Next up is Toxtricity. I'm not gonna lie, there's not some super secret plan surrounding Toxtricity. It's my favorite Pokemon from Generation 8, and I never really got to use it competitively. So I decided, you know what? You're coming with me. Punk Rock and Technician, both wonderful abilities. It gets access to Overdrive. I can set up, if I can set up the rain with Poliwrath, I can always go Thunder. And there's not a lot of things that walk away from a Thunder. There's a good amount of resistances, yes, but anything that doesn't resist it isn't getting off easy. Especially not with the base 114 special attack. The only issue is ground types, which luckily I have three immunities that I can switch into. Next up is Armaldo. Rock Bug, so a pretty decent defensive typing. It's my Rapid Spinner, and on top of that, it is pretty good about damage over time with things like I believe it gets Leech Seed, which I can always check here. We've already established no Sticky Web, so no. Did I just put something in wrong? Oh no, I'm breaking things. But yeah, this is just another thing about this dock, because you're seeing a whole bunch of these things go by. So you're literally able to see almost anything I can check to see if my Pokemon get, ability-wise or move-wise. And it's always nice. So I'm not seeing anything there. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put this back to something. Put it there. Go for Aromatherapy. Hey look, Hatchling gets that. So Armaldo having Swift Swim makes it a little bit of a better option in the rain, making Poliwrath another decent Dynamax option. or not Poliwrath, I'm sorry. Almaldo has a base 125 attack stat, which is not bad. It can definitely hit a couple. It definitely hits hard with things like Stone Edge, X-Scissor. That's just stab moves. So, something to consider. Maybe something that gets traded later on. It's one of my free picks, so who knows? We'll figure that out as we go. And now my wild card. What was something that I could add to my team that could cover almost any weakness, could make people question setting up, and could overall just be a wonderful nuisance for my opponents? Well, Ditto was free. Why not? With the imposter ability, it can immediately become the Pokemon across from it, and it copies stat boosts. So let's say an opponent is trying to, my opponent sets up on me with, let's just say Dragonite. You know what? No, let's go Salamence. Salamence gets Moxie and D-Dance. So it sets up, it gets a couple kills, so it's got attack boost, it's got D-Dance, it's got speed up. Hi, Ditto. Ditto will immediately turn a threat into a speed die. The only issue is that it keeps Ditto's base HP, which is not wonderful, being base 48 across the board. So, how do I get around that? Anything that increases speed. Anything that increases speed, because items don't copy. That's your big thing. Coming from doubles, I learned a lot about speed control. So that's kind of important here. So I may not be going back to double strats like Icy Wind, Electro Web, things like that, but some things do stick. So I thought it would be a nice pick coming in. The draft may change over time. However, I do like some of what this team can do. And like I explained, things do get a little better as time goes on. And as this team gets a little better as far as setup and getting things going, there's a lot of the potential for this to take off. It's not the best team on paper, obviously. Look at all that red. But it is I do think it's a decent team outright, and I'm excited to see what it does. It's fun. It's going to be fun getting back into singles, see what happens. I see some very good players on my lineup for the next few weeks, and we're going to have some fun with it. This has been my draft analysis, so thank you guys for listening. If you guys made it in the end of the video, go ahead and drop a like, any comments, and go ahead and subscribe. If you guys got a minute, also go ahead, subscribe to the other members of PML, and I'll leave, as my week matches go up, I'll leave links to their channels as well, so you can kind of see what's going on. So you'll see both. So you'll see both sides, and I'll see about getting a playlist for all of PML's matches going on. Okay. This has been Guardian of Light signing off.